perfect. Thank you so much. I would like to call to order the Lancaster Social Equity Commission. Assistant City Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Commissioners Carter.
Here.
Davis.
Present.
Deloche.
Here.
Ramos.
Here.
Sanchez.
Present.
Chairman Kristen Pope.
Present.
We have a quorum.
So we are going to forego the invocation today, and Commissioner Sanchez, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes.
Thank you.
You stand, put your right hand over your heart, and repeat. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the first item on our agenda is the Black Gold app developers presentation of community-centered app. They apologize, but they will not be in attendance for today's meeting, and we can push that to next month's meeting. And before we get started with the rest of the meeting, are there any speakers for the consent calendar?
No, there are not.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Is there a motion and a second for the approval of the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Perfect. Commissioner Carter makes a motion and Commissioner Ramos seconds. And you may now vote. Perfect. Thank you so much. And also, the item for new business 1, MB1, the owner of Iyun apologizes, but she cannot be here today with us, so we are also going to move that to next month's meeting. And with that being said, there are no speakers for NB1, so can we move on to NB2, or do we need to take a vote first? Okay, perfect. And now on to the topic that is on everyone's minds. So we are in the middle of two pretty diverse months right now, the first of which being Black History Month, the second of which being Women's History Month, which is next month. And Cesar Chavez Day will also take place during the month of March next month. And so we really want to make sure that we are doing all that we can to deal with a lot of those issues that are facing the community. And so the first thing that we're going to discuss is the Veterans Welcome Home celebration. So basically, very briefly, each year some members of our community come together to do a welcome home celebration for Vietnam veterans in our community. And this is something that is very important to many of the people that live here because we are an aerospace and armed forces and military community. And so this is a topic that is on everyone's minds very often. That being said, a coalition of community groups are going to be doing a Vietnam Veterans Welcome Home celebration next month, I believe on March 18th. And so we basically would just like to offer our support in any way possible. And basically, just before we continue, does anybody have any questions about the day of the event or what it would entail or what have you?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So what will we need to do? What do they need from us?
Let's see. So for right now, just our commitment that we are going to be there and provide our services. So like I said, yeah, it's going to be on March 18th. And then there's going to be a convoy escort at 8:30 a.m. followed by a ceremony at 10 a.m. And this will be at Potts and Lawn Square in Palmdale. And I have a flyer that's available for anyone that needs to see it. And so the reason that we are discussing this item is because we wanted to put together a subcommittee to make sure that if there's anything additional that we need to pour into the event, that we have commissioners that are available and ready to help us do that. So with that being said, is there anybody that is interested in serving on our Veterans Welcome Home Celebration Subcommittee? that believes that they have the time commitment to do it. And mind you, there are 2 other committees or subcommittees that we have to vote on. Absolutely. And I
I
will.
have a question.
Oh, please
Do
go
you
right
know
ahead.
what the time commitment will be?
I'd say probably just in like maybe 30 minutes to an hour a week leading up to the event. So it's not a very big time commitment at all, just a few minor details. And that being said, I will, do I nominate my, okay. Okay, awesome. So we have Commissioner Deloche and myself.
I can also do it.
Okay, perfect. And how many can serve on a subcommittee? 3 or 2? Okay, 3. Okay, perfect. And so Commissioner Sanchez as well. And so now do we vote?
Yeah, you can take a vote on create the subcommittee, and then volunteers, if you need to confirm, they can also confirm via email to staff, and we can also identify as well.
Okay, awesome. So this next item that we are voting on is the creation of the Veterans Welcome Home Celebration Subcommittee. And do we need to take motions or do we just vote? Okay, could I please have a motion?
I make a motion that we have a subcommittee formed for the express purpose of the Welcome Home Veterans event.
Commissioner Deloche makes a motion. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Commissioner Sanchez seconds. Okay, so you may now vote. Perfect. Thank you so much. And so Commissioners Sanchez and Deloche, if you could please send to city staff just your name and that you will be serving on this subcommittee, that would be amazing.
Which staffer?
It's a big sense to identify them.
Okay.
You've already identified it. If you guys do not have, you still need to think about it, you can always know.
Okay, perfect. Thank
So
you.
what are the next steps? Will someone reach out to us with the meetings? I'm assuming we're joining an existing committee?
No, so I would then follow up with you after this meeting to set up our next meeting time.
Okay.
And that goes for everyone. And the Women's History Month Subcommittee is going to be a little bit different. So as a commission, we really want to take some time next month to honor and commemorate Women's History Month because there are so many advances that have been made in our community and nationally on behalf of women, and so we want to make sure that as a commission and as a city, we are celebrating them. And so with that being said, I do not have anything specifically in mind for what we should do to celebrate and commemorate Women's History Month. I personally don't believe that I should be taking lead on that, and instead I leave that to some of our other commissioners. But that being said, we want to create a Women's History Month subcommittee, and so would anybody be interested in serving on that subcommittee?
I'll serve on that.
Okay, so we have Commissioner Carter,
I also will serve on that subcommittee.
and we have Commissioner Sanchez,
I will serve as well.
and then we have Commissioner Davis.
We have the sufficient individuals, if not, I can do that as well.
Yes, so we do have 3, so thank you. And let's see. The last subcommittee is the subcommittee on Juneteenth and Black History Month. And that necessarily, one second actually. So for that, for Black History Month, we are going to be doing a State of Black Futures event to commemorate and celebrate all of the contributions that Black folks have made to the city of Lancaster. This is an event that we're putting together that I'm extraordinarily excited about, and that will be taking place on February 25th from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. In front of City Hall. And so this is going to be a breakfast-style event that will commemorate all of Black folks' achievements in the city of Lancaster, and we are going to be honoring some of our community organizers and some students as well for all of the work that they have done to make this city and this community a better place. And we are also going to be inviting some of the BSUs and middle school students from both the high school district and the elementary school district as well, just to make sure that we're getting as many students there as humanly possible. And so that being said, that is some of the action that we are taking for Black History Month. And then for Juneteenth, as we all know, we are participating in, of course, the throwing of Juneteenth for the city of Lancaster. So that being said, would anybody be interested in serving on that final subcommittee?
I can assist with the Black History.
Okay, awesome. We have Commissioner Ramos. Anybody else? If no one else, then I will. Huh?
I have a question.
Absolutely. No, it's gonna be that one. Yes.
Okay. We had a presentation at our last meeting from the Peace, Love, and Skate group, and I know that they're doing something for Black History Month. They're doing a few, 2 or 3 events.
Yes.
One is, they're kicking off one tomorrow night.
Okay.
So, I'm kind of, supporting them, and I'm just wondering if I can do both. I definitely want to do the Black History, but if I'm already working on a kind of as a support for one of another group that's doing Black History Month events, is that a conflict, or can it be done, Okay. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that means that you would still be interested in helping to, perfect, okay.
Yep.
And so then we have Commissioner Carter. And so we have our subcommittee, and so the final vote that we will be taking is for the creation of the subcommittee that will handle Black History Month and Juneteenth. And could I please have a motion? Oh, so sorry. I was talking about in regards to Black History Month. I didn't know if we still needed a subcommittee in regards to that.
So, okay, so we need to go back to take a vote for Women's History Month.
Okay.
The commission votes to create that subcommittee, and then the commission votes to create the subcommittee for Black History Month.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So may I please have a motion for the creation of the Women's History Month subcommittee?
I make a motion that we create a Women's History Subcommittee group.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Commissioner Deloche makes a motion. Could I please have a second?
I second that motion.
Commissioner Sanchez seconds. You may now vote for, and a yes vote would be for the creation of a subcommittee on Women's History Month. Perfect. Thank you so much. And then the final subcommittee that we would vote on would be for the creation of a subcommittee that would handle Black History Month. And that would be with Commissioners Ramos and Carter serving. May I please have a motion for the creation of that?
I'll make a motion to create a subcommittee for the Black History Month.
I second.
Commissioner Carter makes a motion and Commissioner Ramos seconds. You may now vote. Perfect. Thank you so much. And now moving on to the next item, which is NB3. NB3 is discussion and action on Black History Month, Women's History Month, and Veterans Welcome Home event in March. One moment. Yeah, which is, okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And then last but not least, the final matter that we will be talking about is basically the discussion of Standing on the Shoulders of. Standing on the Shoulders of is a campaign very similar to the one that we held last year within City Hall, and that was basically to honor and commemorate the achievements of some very influential Black folks within the city, such as Bishop Henry Hearns, such as Nigel Hawley, as well as a few others, and we are aiming to do the exact same thing again. And so I just wanted to share that with all of you, and I don't believe that there's any official action that has to be taken on that because, yeah, no. Okay, perfect. And then with that being said, there are,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I just have a
please.
question about the previous items. Were the subcommittees put in place, are you expecting a report next month? Is there a timeline? Is there a list of tasks? Like, are the subcommittees coming back and reporting back to the commission next month? Or will they meet and discuss what they're gonna do? Do they have the authority from the commission to move forward and make decisions about how those 3 events are gonna take place? I'm trying to get a full.
Absolutely, thank you for that. Yes, so, and I'm sorry for not clarifying that with my expectation. The expectation for these subcommittees, specifically for Women's History Month, I'll start with the Women's History Month subcommittee first. So the expectation with the Women's History Month subcommittee is that the 3 commissioners would meet outside of this meeting, set up a time that works for them to meet outside of this meeting to discuss exactly what the Commission on Social Equity would want to do for Women's History Month. It can be in regards to throwing an event. It can be you can discuss planning a short campaign of some kind. It really doesn't matter, but that would be the scope of what would be discussed in the subcommittee. Do you have any follow-up questions, Deputy Mayor Cannon?
No, I just wanted to get a full scope of what the expectation was. I got it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Chairman, I had a question about the Juneteenth.
Absolutely.
So I was under the impression that we're on the committee as commissioners, and our role will be to work on commission items. That being said, we said in our last meeting that we may divide up the months. Is that something that we can do today, or would we need to do that during the subcommittee at the actual Juneteenth meeting?
Katie?
So we have 4 months. We agreed that we would stagger our participation because there's no need for all of us to be there every meeting. So can we look at how can we stagger ourselves now?
I think he's talking about the rotation, right?
Yes.
The rotation of the members of the Juneteenth subcommittee.
Absolutely.
I think his question is, do we rotate now, or do we wait? And I think the agreement when we had that meeting, when we talked about it, is that the first rotation would be on an as-needed basis. So if one commissioner can't make it to the next Juneteenth meeting, that's when the rotation could happen. But again, it's up to the commission to decide how you do the rotation and when you're going to do the rotation.
Yes. So I want to put it on the table to decide, would we like to? There are 4 months, including the month of the event, which will be a heavy planning month. Would we like to stagger ourselves by certain commissioners taking each month and then rotating those commissioners on and off? Or would we like to do something to where we're on a week-to-week basis? I'm open.
Okay. Well, I would say that I am absolutely open to that option. Is that something that we would need to officially vote on as of now, or would we just be discussing it? That's my only question.
So originally, everybody was able to attend.
Yes.
So the subcommittee is created for the specific item that maybe the Social Equity Commission would like to participate or put forth to contribute to the Juneteenth event. So in regards to attendance and the overall meetings, you don't have to rotate that. If you're not able to attend, that's truly, your personal schedule. Now, in regards to the individuals that are on the subcommittee with the rotating positions, that would be where you guys can meet and, contribute amongst each other as to ideas how you feel the Social Equity Commission can contribute to that event. Do you guys want to attend? Do you guys want to sponsor an event, an activity? What would be the goal for the Social Equity Commission to have a presence at the Juneteenth event? So that's
And as of right now, we haven't, which is why I'm asking the question.
So who's ever on the subcommittee, you guys already could have been reaching out and identifying that amongst each other.
So we're all on the subcommittee.
No.
That's what we agreed to, was it
No.
not?
So the entire, all of the commissioners aren't on the subcommittee. So the way that the planning meeting goes, that the meetings are open to the public, and it is a community partnership. So the Social Equity Commission as itself is a part of that partnership. And so the Social Equity Commission is represented at any given time in those meetings by that subcommittee. And then if in that meeting, that there are more commissioners in those meetings outside of the subcommittee, then those members would not be representing the Social Equity Commission unless they have been identified as members of the subcommittee. And so, does that make sense?
It does. So last week, we
Yeah.
just voted to be able to go there without having a Brown Act, but we didn't
Exactly.
designate a specific committee, subcommittee. Is that what you're saying? It sounds
I
like
thought we
it.
did.
So
I thought
who
we
is on
did.
the subcommittee per se?
Because the subcommittee was present at the last Juneteenth meeting. It was, you left from the, correct me if I'm wrong, the subcommittee was present at the last Juneteenth meeting. It was Commissioner Deloche was there, Commissioner Davis was there, and Chairman Pope was there. Also, Ms. Sanchez was there. So I would have to go back and look at the minutes to see exactly which was appointed, but there were members appointed. I do remember that there were volunteers and everybody went.
Yeah, I
So-
remember that too. I thought it was yourself
And Ms. Sanchez, right, or was it
Commissioner
Mr. Pope?
Sanchez and myself.
Again, I think this could be semantics, but the overall meeting, the vote that we took was to allow us to engage in the meeting, but I wasn't certain that the people who were present, which was everybody with the exception of Mr. Ramos, was on the subcommittee. So is that what was a part of that vote as well? The people who voted were a part of the subcommittee? Because I think that matters in what I'm saying.
No. So you voted to create a Juneteenth subcommittee. So if the question is the members of the commission that voted to create that, are they members of the subcommittee? No. So once the subcommittee was created, then volunteers, because it has to be just three officially on the subcommittee, then volunteers were on that subcommittee. And I believe Ms. Davis is right. The volunteers that were decided to be on the subcommittee was Ms. Davis, Commissioner Deloche, and Ms. Sanchez. And so when you guys went to the meeting, that was the subcommittee, Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Deloche, and Commissioner Sanchez. When there are other members of the Social Equity Commission present outside of that subcommittee, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not commissioners, but that was the subcommittee at that meeting. So should you decide to rotate, should Commissioner Deloche rotate with Commissioner Ramos, Commissioner Deloche can still go to the Juneteenth meeting. That's not an issue, but there is no issue. But Commissioner Ramos will be a part of the subcommittee with Ms. Davis and Ms. Sanchez, hypothetically. Does that make sense?
Even though he's not on the subcommittee, he's just
No, he would
representing.
be on the subcommittee should you guys decide to switch. Should you decide to rotate out? Should Commissioner Deloche say, I am going to rotate out and give this to Commissioner Ramos, that then Commissioner Ramos will be on the subcommittee. So it's a rotating member, subcommittee. Or if Ms. Davis decided that I'm going to rotate out with Gio, then that's how that would go. So that every commissioner has a chance to serve on the subcommittee in those 4 months. But if you are asking if this is the meeting where you would want to solidify that and clarify it, then I think you can.
Okay, thank you.
So maybe you guys need to identify the purpose behind the subcommittee, because there seems to be some misunderstanding in regards to the purpose behind the subcommittee. If all of you can attend and all of you can participate, what is your purpose behind the subcommittee? Because it was supposed to be for how the Social Equity Commission can contribute to Juneteenth.
Exactly.
It did not restrict any attendance at the overall meeting.
Exactly.
But if subcommittee members want to, kind of discuss how they can contribute, obviously, individuals who do not identify themselves as interested in participating in the subcommittee would not partake in that plan. It would just be, as identified, Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Deloche, Commissioner Sanchez, with Commissioner Ramos rotating out. But
No, that's fine. So back to the intent. Last year, when I got there, I noticed that I went to our booth and there was nobody there. Actually, the city inspector was there, doing her write-ups for the food trucks. So this year, would we like our focus to be on a booth for the Social Equity Commission? Or do we want to, again, spread our energies amongst what's happening with the Juneteenth committees?
So to answer your question, Commissioner Deloche, you are absolutely right. Yeah, there was no one, to the best of my knowledge, at the booth last year, either at the, oh, Sean, you were?
Yeah, so last year I covered the booth for a few hours, but I was also a volunteer, as all other commissioners were, for the overall event. So it was a lot of jumping around, but I stayed there for at least an hour and a half, and I had my son there with me. So it probably was, I didn't see you come to the booth, so that probably was it. But again, you guys could decide, and that was the intent of the subcommittee, to decide in that meeting, how will the Social Equity Commission sponsor, whether it be a booth or whether it be we will sponsor this activity. But that was the purpose of the subcommittee, to decide how you would participate in the event.
Yes, and I think that's what we should think about today, is, again, do we want to do something special with our booth and focus our energies there, or would we like to spread our energies to be do more volunteers? I see someone saying focus on the booth.
Well, we spoke about this, I spoke last meeting about this. Every city event that's there, you guys have a space, and no one's there, there's nothing presented, even if it's just paperwork laid out on the table that people can take in passing. But last year at the Juneteenth Festival, y'all's booth was right beside the NAACP's, nothing was there. And I feel like painting and coloring books is not what the Social Equity Commission is representing, so it has to be something.
Racine, would you like to come up to the podium? Thank you.
I just said what I said.
Yes, I understand. I
Okay.
understand. So I think we are in alignment that we should figure out how we can contribute, showcase our talents, strengths, and what we do here at the booth, while being active members and bringing back information from the overall Juneteenth Commission on a monthly basis.
Okay, so I think that you bring up a good point, Commissioner Deloche. And so the first thing that we would have to cover is, and we can consult with a staff member about this, but the first thing is that we would actually need to make sure that we have something at our booth. The continual thing each year is that because we were still getting our sea legs for so long, we didn't actually have any materials that were given to us that said specifically, this is the purpose of the Social Equity Commission. We can hand this out to other members of the community. And so the first thing that we would need to do is make sure that we have those materials produced so that when we are at a booth, we can actually give people something. That's the first thing, because usually we just have an iPad or whatnot, and we should be talking about the full scope of what we are trying to accomplish as a body, so that other people know that in the community as well. Deputy Mayor Cannon, and then we will go to Racine.
So again, and you could take public comment after. And so with the intent of the subcommittee, again, was so that you come back to the commission with a plan of how you want to participate. And so this discussion is great, but the subcommittee would come to the commission and say, this is what we think, this is how we think we should participate in this event, whether it be a booth, and then we should have this at this booth. But the subcommittee comes to the commission with a plan, and the commission approves it, and that's how the commission will participate in Juneteenth.
Got it.
You can discuss it here too.
Yeah, you can.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I'm going to just jump on, because Commissioner Deloche is right. I'm seriously don't remember us really formalizing a booth for the Social Equity Commission last year. It might have, maybe, I missed that conversation. But if we're going to have a Social Equity Commission booth at the Juneteenth, it needs to be a priority. We need to, I think, above all, set up something that we're going to present there and make sure that we're staffed at that.
So I propose, so that we can continue to move, it looks like we have community members who are ready to address us. What if we take our direction next week when we are at the meeting, and bring some ideas back, because the community members at the Juneteenth Planning Commission may have some ideas as well. So we will bring back items.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely,
So
please.
have we determined that we will decide if we're gonna have a booth at the meeting? Or can we decide tonight, we're definitely gonna have a booth, and at the meeting we'll determine, well, when we meet separately, we'll determine what's gonna make that booth spectacular for the community, to be proud of all that we're doing and that we hope to do, and be a resource. I think we should have a booth. I'd rather do that than spread around. But most definitely, I think we'd be more effective that way. And I think that people need, a lot of people don't know that we have a social equity commission. They don't know what our goal is and what our plan is for the community. I think we need to be there and communicate that to the community and make an impact. So I think we should have a booth, and I guess if we can decide on that now, because if the subcommittee is going to meet, if we can decide it now, then when we go to the meeting, we know our goal, we know our agenda, so.
I have a recommendation.
Please, go ahead, Deputy Mayor
So
Cannon.
if you remember at the Poppy Festival booth that we were doing a survey. And so you could do something similar. And if you want to talk about social equity, it's something that the commission has talked about before, about wanting to get more people involved in the civic process. Definitely, it should be a booth where the community can come and interact with the Social Equity Commission. But if you want to register voters, if you want to pass out flyers for upcoming city events, you can do that as well. So this is also an opportunity for the community to get to know the new members of the Social Equity Commission. But to actually do something at the booth, I don't think you guys have to decide what exactly that is, but you guys definitely can decide to have a booth today.
So can today we just make the decision on having the booth, and then we'll go through all of it, the breaking down of all those great ideas? We can utilize another time to like build out the commission, and then the booth, and then I know Dr. Deloche, Commissioner Deloche mentioned reporting back. So along with deciding on the booth, who's going to be coming back with the report out to the commission, we can decide on those two things. Can we do that? And then close this discussion? Thank you.
So I guess the follow-up question for that would be, like, do we have to vote on any official action?
It's all this commission business or discussion.
Perfect, okay.
What it's gonna do, so the subcommittee comes back, and at that time, they'll present to the entire commission as a whole what the ideas are, and then from there, you guys can vote on it to see this is how we want to proceed.
Go ahead.
So we don't have to vote, but I just want to clarify. I want to make sure I have this. We're going to have a booth. Social Equity Commission will have a booth at the Juneteenth, and Dr. Deloche will be, Commissioner Deloche will be the point of contact, bringing back information from Juneteenth to the.
I guess he will.
Does that work for you,
Okay.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Deloche?
I just want to make a note of it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I think y'all have to commit. You have to commit. I feel like the Social Equity Commission is to bridge the gap between the community and the public services that's here.
Okay, so before we continue, yeah, like you have got to address us at the podium.
Yeah.
So sorry about that.
Okay.
Giving out a lot of
Say
great
my name,
information
say my
at the
name.
seat. Please come.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
just please come forward.
Okay.
All these great ideas are getting.
1 second.
Well, you know, I just see all you guys.
1
have to-
second,
I'm
before we
sorry.
continue. So sorry, before we continue. So can we now? So we can now like go into comment. Okay, perfect. Please go right ahead.
Okay, nice seeing you guys again. But listening to what Mr. Cannon said, some of the things that you do as a commission for the social equity is to bridge the gap in between the community, the law in the city, and the service people. So other than painting or stuff like that, it has to be something that, information that's useful to the community, something that's gonna help them, something that wants to make them reach out to you. All I've heard is planning. We're having this event, we're celebrating this, we're celebrating that, but what is the commission doing? What are you here for to do? And that's to help bridge the gap in between the community and the city. So something productive educational-wise for the youth to reach out to some of the people that'll be on the Juneteenth Commission to see what they all can bring forward to there, to have something else at y'all's booth other than a table. I did speak about this at the last Social Equity Commission meeting, and, you know, it's disheartening that when we pass, there's nothing there. Or when they come to our booth and they say, hey, this is going on, or this happened at this city park, and my kids can't go over here and play, who can they reach out to? Who can they communicate that to? So that's what I look for when I'm looking into the Social Equity Committee. That's, you know, those are the things that is going to bridge the gap for them to be able to step forward, say what they need to say, and get some feedback. Have somebody to follow up with them, not just a survey or coloring books.
Can I respond? Can I respond to that?
Yes,
Great,
ma'am.
thank you so much. Yeah, you did mention that at the last meeting.
Yeah.
It was a mistake on someone's part. We've handled that. This year, we will have a booth. You'll be proud.
Yeah.
Trust me, we're going to get
Yeah,
together
well, I was just
and
not just-
discuss
I'm
that.
sorry, go
We'll
ahead.
make certain that it's a booth
Yeah.
that's of significance and not just
Yeah.
somebody can walk by.
Yeah.
You have my
Okay.
word on that.
All right.
Thank
I'll
you.
see you through there.
Thank you.
Absolutely perfect. Did you want to?
I just want to address the young lady that was just racing.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that you just, you did it real fast and it might have, but you just made a lot of really good recommendations, actually. I think that you and people like you are the ones who can inform us to what we, and that's what we look to. So I appreciate those things, and maybe even at our booth, we can have something where people like you can give us some feedback and information on what you want, because that's what we're here for, right? And so we're only as good a commission as
The community allows
so,
it to be.
yeah, we need your voice and people like you, so thank you for that. And let's get more of that. Let's get more of that.
Ms. Racine, thank you for your feedback and your candor.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And so now can we go ahead to public business from the floor, non-agendized items?
This is the time to address the Lancaster Social Equity Commission on non-agendized matters. Speaker cards can be found on the back table of the council chambers. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each unless a different time limit is announced. State law prohibits the commission from taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Thank you.
Perfect. And so the first speaker card that we have is Paulette Dunn-Sanders. Perfect. Thank you so much for coming to see us today.
Hi, you guys. I have not actually formally introduced myself. My name is
No problem.
Paulette Dunn-Sanders, and I'm the founder of Stopping Pressure on Teens. The Stopping Pressure on Teens is breaking the chain of youth and teen incarceration by first building relationships with our first responders when they're small, and then if they do get a juvenile number, they get certified training skills to be able to earn money to take care of their families and to not return back to jail. But the purpose of my appearance today is to let you all know about a campaign that I'm going to be joining in with the Small Business Administration sometime at the end of this month or the beginning of March to give information out to our nonprofit organizations on grants that they can get. And it's due to the pandemic for them to get back on their feet and I guess it really aligns with the young lady that was supposed to be here tonight for the
The Garden of Yoon
yes.
business owner. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that this would be great information for her. If I can leave one of these,
Absolutely.
I can
Could
definitely
you?
leave that.
Yeah. Could you just do a quick recap for us,
So-
and then we'll absolutely make sure that she gets a copy as well.
Okay, so this is a small business in LA County, may qualify for up to $25K in financial relief for COVID-19. Just to get them back off their feet, maybe if they lost funding for their own business doing in the community that they didn't get paid for, or maybe some of their employees, they might had to let some employees go because they couldn't afford to pay. So this is just to get them back on their feet. And then it's also going to be another one coming out after February 23rd, which is a bigger grant for a nonprofit. So, yes, yes. Also, I'm here to let you all know about, I hope you guys went to the blood drive. Did you guys make it? Anyone make it to the blood drive that was given earlier this year?
Unfortunately, no one was able to make it, but yes, unfortunately not.
I was hoping you would have made it, Sean, to get your blood type. But yeah, that's very good to know, to have your blood type. You know, we have sickle cell patients out here that's really in need of blood donation to help them with their sickle cell disease. You know, you're saving up to 3 lives if you donate one time. And I have an upcoming event with the youth.
Awesome.
They want to do a youth community potluck / pop-up shop for the homeless, and that's going to be in April. So that will be something good. After we put the flyer together, I will bring that by for you guys to get involved with if you can. And I do have some of my brochures on my own organization here to give you guys a cap of what I'm doing and what I love to do and my godly mission, because this is my godly mission. This is my passion. So just glad to be able to be here in front of you all so we all can come together, because we all have passions. We all have things we want to do in the community. And that's about it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being a good neighbor and sharing all of that information
Absolutely.
with us.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it, and we will absolutely make sure to follow up with you about April.
Yes.
Because that absolutely sounds like something that is very important. Anything regarding homelessness in California, I consider to be at everyone's, like the top of everyone's agenda right now. So thank you so much for sharing all of that information with us. I appreciate it. And we look forward to see you next time for sure.
Can I
Before
ask you
you
a
leave,
question? Oh.
yes.
Please go right ahead, commissioners.
Do you have a date for the next blood drive?
The next blood drive will be June 22nd
And do you
at
know
the
where it's
same
going to be?
location. It will be at the Cedar Moore, right here off of Cedar, the small
And
Moore
that's June
building.
22nd.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's go in order. So Commissioner Deloche and then Commissioner Carter.
Thank you for the blood drive information, and I'll do my
Yes.
best to make it. I didn't know about the first one. My next question is maybe for our staffers. To help people like Ms. Dunn Sanders, is there a place on the city's website? Do we have like a nook where we can upload events from the community like Ms. Dunn Sanders? Or would that need to be something that could be on a social media page or an Instagram page?
So yeah, we do have a few different platforms where we can put something like that out. So if you want to speak with us after the commission's over, we can get some contact information and work with you to do
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you, Ms. Carter?
Oh, thank you, Ms. Sanders, Dunn Sanders. What was the first, you showed, you had a
Oh.
flyer. It was-
So this is up to 25K in financial relief.
And this is for
Could you bring that
people-
up to the podium, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Or to the dais, please. Thank you so much.
Was this for people who have, thank you. Mhm. This is great. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
our next speaker card is Lori Walker. Hello. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you all?
Doing well. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
We have a celebration tomorrow as the 114th anniversary of the NAACP. We are celebrating that with a membership drive, a reparations forum, a Costco cake. and you get a chance to meet the new administration. We have about 6 new committee chairs. We have a new legal redress chair coming in, and she's sitting for the bar pretty soon. Also, I wanted to touch bases with what Racine had brought up earlier about the meat of the Social Equity Commission. I found this week, doing my research for another project, a 1989 article in the Los Angeles Times, and here's the title: Rights Panel Rejected, NAACP Disappointed by Lancaster Defeat. And so we've come a long way. We have a Social Equity Commission, and we need meat, we need substance. And I looked at your vision statement, your mission statement. Your vision is to ensure all citizens of Lancaster have equitable access. Your mission, to cultivate, sustain equity, diversity, inclusion, committed to understanding and overcoming the most significant and addressable social equity challenges facing our community, and it does go beyond crayons at an event. So I do want to point out that, Mr. Ramos, you are part of DCFS, and DCFS, the majority of the cases are in the LA County, and of LA County, 70% of the cases are Antelope Valley, and that should be a heavy, heavy topic covered here in these meetings, and unfortunately it's not. So the NAACP has really been busy, and we actually are partnering with 2 other LA branches, and we are bringing a federal civil rights case that's stemming with the Sheriff's Department, our court systems, and we're going heavy with DCFS, and I have been unable to reach your director, Mr. Nichols, so hopefully we can hear more from you, because I did notice you were right up under him. I would love the opportunity to hear about the issues and the systemic challenges within DCFS, especially for minorities, since a lot of the cases, a lot of the calls, 80% are for Black families. So social equity, let's hear from Mr. Ramos.
Would love to. I presented in November to the Social Equity Commission. Not sure if you were here. It was all about disproportionality. It's all about the efforts that we've been making at the Antelope Valley, Lancaster and Palmdale office. And we acknowledge that there's systemic racism, and that's why we came in November to reach out to the Social Equity Committee to see how we could work together. And that actually led to my applying to be on the Social Equity Committee because of the disproportionality that's been occurring. So there's a lot of efforts going on in partnership with others that we've been working with Antelope Valley Partners for Health, who you know is right down the street, and others to really talk about how to impact families of color in a positive way. And there's a lot of good work going on with that. So I'm wearing my Social Equity Commissioner hat tonight, but I can wear my DCFS hat, and we can get together and talk about it further.
Okay, social equity hats can talk about DCFS too.
Thank you so much. So before we continue, actually, could you stay at the podium for just a second, Lori? Thank you so much. So the first thing that I want to get out of the way, and this is just kind of like something that pardon me, we should have covered in Robert's Rules of Order. When we were speaking to the commission, we do address the chair. That's the first thing. Because it is disrespectful to refer to the other commissioners at this dais when there is a person that is leading this body. That is the first thing. The second thing is that I am so sorry that we were unable to have someone that was at our booth for the Justice Sunday event, because that is something that is continually referenced. And so I do want to say that I do apologize for that. We had many commissioners and many public servants that are here today. They were there at that event, and they were there in many different capacities. However, if there was an issue with someone being at that event, there is a phone number that I could have been reached at. And we have somehow not addressed that. And so I do hope that you do take my apology as sincere but there was a phone number that I could have been reached at if that was the case, that there was nobody at the booth, which is what we had discussed. Yes, Racine, would you like to come back to the podium, please?
Ms. Chairman, just point of clarification, the commission's request at Justice Sunday was that if there was to be a city booth, that there be space for a commissioner should they have the chance to come and speak to the community, and also so that the commissioners could work the crowd at the actual Justice Sunday event, which is what happened.
Okay, perfect. Thank
It
you
was a
so much.
miscommunication.
Thank you so much for that clarification, Deputy Mayor Cannon. Please go right ahead,
Mr.
Racine.
Chairman,
Thank you.
I'm addressing you. I was not aware there was a phone number not to contact you, but I seen you on the boulevard personally, and I just bring it to your attention. So.
Oh, yes, you did see me that evening at the LPAC, and we did discuss that then.
Yes.
But you also have my personal phone number, is that correct?
I have to check my contacts.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, 100%. But we also know that my city email address is available on my city, on the city website. I have my email on my phone, so I can see that if you do send me something. So let's make sure that this issue of communication doesn't happen again, because I am definitely
Absolutely.
reachable.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Racine, I appreciate it. And let's see, there was something else that was already on your comment card. Did you want to talk about that as well, or?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, absolutely, please.
Oh, wait, let me- Hello again, everyone. Hi. I'm Racine Actor. I'm here with the NAACP, the Criminal Justice Chair, and I'm here to speak with you guys this evening. I would like to come to this commission today to offer some areas where I think the inquiries into certain areas within this community can be helpful here in Lancaster. You have the ability, as the commission, to request that the sheriff department provide information relating to some of the training and their policies here in the city with dealing with the people in the community. Today, I request that we have this commission to look into some of the training that is provided to the deputies related to soft skills such as communication, de-escalation, equality, culture, diversity, bias training. That's just a few of the things. What is the training that is being given to these officers so they can be productive when they're making contact with the young African-American community as well as the other minorities here in the city? The movement towards the community policing has continued to gain momentum in the recent years as well as the recent weeks, given the life that Tyree Nichols lost at the hands of the same people who were sworn to protect us. And we as a community here in Lancaster and the AV area search for more effective ways to promote public safety to the enhancement and the quality of life here in our communities. I'm sorry, I should turn my phone off. Things like communication, community policing, partnerships, and relationships all over can be more effective within communicating not only with the community, but hearing the training that's being offered to these officers. You know, what's been done in the past might not be as helpful or useful in the communities today. I don't see a lot of people of color in the Lancaster office, sheriff department. You know, how many people of African-American descendants there? This is a large city that has 80% of African-Americans here. You barely see anybody of those on the forces. So what training is being done and given to them so when they do go out, they can look at us and see us as people or not come out with a preconceived notion of how they're going to deal with a situation. Let me go back to my notes. I'm not saying that they have to be a black person responding, a black officer responding to a call in certain communities, but being trained and being able to communicate with people of other ethnicities will be helpful. So like when they're being approached and they see somebody that looks like them, maybe they can relate or being perceived as angry or upset or yelling or screaming. I'm from Brooklyn, I might talk loud. I'm not angry. But yeah, it's less than 8% of African Americans deputies that's working in the Lancaster station. And I'm not taking away from the good men and the women that are out there doing a good job, but it's important for the city with such a large African-American population to have representation in that culture aspect. It's an important profession. And it's an important profession that not only affects the youth, the people in our community, but certain charges that can be brought onto these people, they're going to affect them for life. Recently, we just had a protest at the Antelope Valley Courthouse. A young lady, 20 years old, was given 2 felonies, and one of them is a strike. Her rights wasn't heard. She wasn't able to object to anything. It was one person's story of a different race against hers, and they took it and they ran with it. So not only is she losing out with a strike and moving forward in life, this is going to sit with her forever. And the approach that the officers have, we did obtain the body cam footage, is being absent-minded. So even if it's in black and white, if it's recorded, we're not being heard in the community. So I'm asking this commission to ask or to get the information that the sheriff department has. What training's being done? What is being offered? Who's giving this training? And how we can make a difference in communicating between not only the commission, but the community and partner with the sheriff department so we can have a better quality of life here in Lancaster.
Absolutely. So before you leave, I appreciate very much your comment because this is something that I know almost every single Black person has been asking for a very long time, and that is what type of training is being provided. And so absolutely, 100% I agree that that is an area that's of concern for many folks. And we want to make sure that when things are as high stake as this, that they're done correctly, so absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, one more thing. When I was at the Social Justice Committee meeting, they showed us stats. You know, this is where the crime is, this is where the robberies is. I want to see the real stats, and if y'all are able to get that to present it to us, it's something that we would love to look into to see what's really going on. What's this training that's going to help these officers come out and communicate with the community to be a better officer? Leave the egos at home and put on a uniform and come do the job that they sworn in to do.
Well, I will follow up with you after on this, but I really appreciate your comment because it gets to the root of something that affects very many people, so absolutely
Absolutely.
100%.
Okay.
So, before
ahead.
you go, Ms. Racine, so
Yes.
the ask, is it that you would like to see these statistics and hear about what we're doing in the next meeting?
Not just the statistics. I mean, statistics can be looked up anywhere, but what is the training that's been given to
Yes,
these
ma'am, that's what I'm
officers?
asking. So
Yes.
would you like for that to be unveiled in an upcoming meeting?
Yes, sir, I would.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
Anything else?
we'll look into it.
Perfect, thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Ms. Racine?
Yes,
I
Ms.
just wanted
Davis.
to tell you, we are in talks about that. We've been
Okay.
talking about it for the last couple of weeks. Going to have an official meeting soon about that. We hear you. We feel you.
Okay.
We see it.
Thank you.
So we are on top of it.
Can I come to the meeting?
What was that?
Can I come to the meeting?
Not this one.
Not this one.
But you can come. It's going to be brought out. most
Okay.
definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
for that.
Thank you. Any additional speakers? Perfect. Okay, so before we adjourn today, let's do commissioner comments. Does any commissioner have any comment before we adjourn with today's meeting?
I have a small comment. I just wanted to speak to the women that are here today or the people that are in the audience and tell you that that's what we want to do in this commission is make a difference. We're not here just to talk and hang out and visit. So if there's an issue, we want to know about it. We know what we see, but if you see things, bring it to us so that we can make a difference. I don't want to come and just talk. We don't want to come and chit-chat and hang out and we can have barbecue another time. But we are here to transform the community and to change lives generationally. So I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your passion. And let's do it. Let's do it together.
I want to echo my counterpart's words. Again, we are a young commission, first here, and we're learning. And I will ask that you guys continue to partner with us, continue to push us, and hold us accountable as we learn how to serve this valley. Because again, we're here as volunteers to help lead this work for you. So continue to come, continue to ask questions, and we will continue to work for you.
And, yeah, I'm going to echo what other commissioners said, and I really appreciate you coming forth, Ms. Racine, and just being courageous. The things that you said, these are the things that we need to hear, and I know it can, just thank you for being courageous and speaking up, because if we don't hear these things, we don't know how we can serve the community. I want to just give a real quick personal story because I want you to know I'm so serious about this. Someone, and I'll just say, very, very, very close to me was assaulted in a grocery store out here. And she was not able, she wouldn't call the police because she was afraid, because the person that assaulted her does not look like her. And her thought was, if I called the police, I could be the person that ends up getting hurt even worse. So it's a strain on people being able to even exercise their rights to be treated correctly or not assaulted by other citizens. So I think that for me, that person is really close to me. So I'm definitely here to support and really work with this commission on bridging the gaps between our public safety police departments and the community. I don't know, and maybe it takes something, maybe there needs to be some recruitment efforts as well as some EID training and so forth, and some unwinding of the biased mindsets. But whatever it is, I just really appreciate people coming and telling the truth, because the truth needs to be told, and we need to know it so we can fix.
Yes, absolutely.
Do what we can to support fixing it.
Before we go into any more public comment, because I believe the time for public comment has passed, has it not? Yes, the time for public comment has passed. Yes. Yes, okay.
I couldn't respond to her.
Could we please do it after?
Sure, no
Thank you.
problem.
Thank you so much. Was that the end of your, okay. Any other commissioners have any comment?
I also want to thank the public comments. As a new commissioner, I'm also learning, but I promise you, I'm writing notes down and we will make a change within our community.
Okay. So I actually want to apologize about something. I realize that we have been go, 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 go for so long that we actually have not had time to sit down and talk about what we actually want to accomplish. I mean, we've talked about several things, but we haven't talked about things in detail. And we aren't necessarily going to get into that specifically right this second. But there is just something that I do want to say very briefly, and it's the fact that for 2 years, right, we have been in a pandemic. And so for much of that time, that made it very hard for us to meet here in this body at this chamber. And so a lot of folks were coming into a lot of this from being at home for the past few months, coming from protesting for the past few months, coming from campaigning for the past few months, and then trying to come back to here to get all of this work done on behalf of the community. I have been watching a lot of documentaries recently related to our history, our heritage, and our past. And so many of the issues that we are dealing with are so lofty that many of our predecessors from the local to national level haven't been able to fully grapple how we tackle some of those challenges because they are so stark. And there have been a lot of people that have tried to run away from those challenges. There have been quite a lot of people that have tried to shy away from those challenges, but that is not us. And so I do just want you to know how seriously we take this. We have worked on attendance and making sure that all of our commissioners are attending our meetings regularly, because that is something that was not done or paid attention to in the past, which affected our productivity. So that is something that we have worked to address. We have worked to address the fact that there aren't cultural events that are being celebrated in the city prior to this, and we want to make sure that we are highlighting that. we are trying to do some really great work here, and so we thank you so much for coming forward to try to make that work better. And so with that being said, if there are no more comments, I will adjourn this meeting. Do you have another comment, Commissioner Cotter?
Last meeting, we had the Peace, Love, and Skate people come and present to us, and we said we voted to support them. We've done the background work, and they are having their first event tomorrow night, thanks to the city of Lancaster. They're having a skate event, kickoff Black History Month at the American Heroes Park over here. It starts at 6 o'clock, and anybody, if you donate, she takes that and gives it to other nonprofit organizations, but there's no donation required. Just come out, skate, or watch, and, you know, just support the Peace, Love, and Skate group in their events that the City of Lancaster Social Equity Commission supported them to get it done. So come out tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, American Heroes Park. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Deputy Mayor Cannon?
Really quick before you adjourn, again, I think it's beautiful that the community is coming and participating. I remember when we first got the Social Equity Commission up and running, it was birthed out of hundreds, if not thousands, of people flooding the street right out there.
Trust me, I remember.
And when we had our first meeting, and in our first year, none of those people were in this chamber as we were meeting. And so it is great to see that that has changed, and the commission has taken, since our inception, has taken action, since their inception, has taken action. It's all on record, and I encourage the new commissioners and members of the public to go onto our city's website and look. When it comes to some of the issues that were brought up, I just wanted to clarify that this is an advisory body when it comes to the Sheriff's Department. Yes, we do have some sort of influence when it comes to what happens in the city of Lancaster, but the Sheriff's Department is a county entity, and so personnel matters is on a county level. We have no jurisdiction over that, let alone the city council. And also that there is a hybrid law enforcement model that's coming out. Our public safety director has been very adamant about it, has gone out to the community and done so. Under the commission participated under the previous chair under our previous public safety director, hybrid law enforcement model trainings with the consultant that the city hired, Hillards and Heights, and pretty much the commission has been involved in the beginning on that. We asked for our staffers we started off with staffers from Economic Development Department, but understanding the issues that were in the community, we requested staff from the Public Safety Department so that that bridge can be stronger and strongly built. You guys all previous commissioners participated and helped draft a report that everybody got as I stepped down, that the new commissioners still are taking time to review and to add any additions, but they do address how we can more be a bridge to the community when it comes to law enforcement. And again, I encourage the new commissioners, something I did as a commissioner, is to see all sides. And it's one thing to hear about the trainings, it's one thing to get the stats, but take a ride along. Sit and go with the sheriffs and see the trainings for yourself. Be it when you see an incident that's happening in the community, observe. These things are very informative. They're very informative for me, and it helps us be a better bridge to the community, because then we get to see the trainings in action and how our deputies communicate with the public. And so those are my only comments, and I'm really glad to see that there are members of the community here, because it does make the commission better.
It does.
Can I ask for it on the record that you can give your number out so everyone can have it to reach out to you? That doesn't happen.
So with that being said, I thank you so much for your comment, Deputy Mayor Cannon. And with that being said, go ahead.
Really quick, Chair. Actually, I have to say I'm extremely inspired by tonight's meeting. I think some really good points were brought up, especially from the audience. It's greatly appreciated. I, being a 35-year law enforcement veteran, can appreciate the things that you've requested and asked for. And they are things that any law enforcement agency should make their community aware of. So with that said, as I said, my desire and background has been in equity over those years and been in community service. So what I do want to share like Sean just mentioned, is we are beginning to hire for the hybrid program. And what I would like to do is to have, because we're supposed to be a community agency, the city, the police department, the sheriffs, and public safety. So what I would like to do is to now bring a community member to sit on our panel when we're looking at some of our leadership for public safety who we're going to hire. So I plan on reaching out to the commissioners in hopes that one of you may be available to assist us with that so that we can hear your voices in our selection process and make sure we're getting the right people to work for this community. So just wanted to share that with you. So I will be reaching out. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Director. And with that being said, we are adjourning. The next regularly scheduled meeting is for Wednesday, March 15th at 5 p.m. in the council chambers, 2023. And with that being said, these